Good.
Welcome, Ian Norton.
Thank you very much.
Um, you are the confidence architect for leaders and entrepreneurs, the confidence king.
Indeed.
Welcome to Across the Pond, a conversation with David and Howard.
Thank you very much.
Ian, welcome.
Thank you. I am delighted to be here.
Ian, I'm so curious. Let's just dive in, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
please do.
so tell me about your journey from being an actor to becoming a coach
Wow.
and why coaching?
Okay. Well, the even the short version is long, but I'll try and condense it.
I love stories,
Yeah,
but
no,
I'll listen.
basically I grew up in a very male-dominated family. My dad was ex-Navy, my brother was ex-Army. It was all very very masculine and very manly. And I knew from quite early on that I was gay, but I'll be 65 in November. So bearing in mind when I was young, it was still illegal.
Okay.
It was just horrendous. And because my family were like they were, there was no way that I was ever going to come out or deal with any of that. So I became quite include in kind of I suppose secretive is the best word for it because I didn't have anywhere to talk and whatever. And my brother was older and he was the golden child and it was and I was always Ian's fine, he'll be okay, he's fine, he's doing his own thing, he doesn't talk to us much, he's fine.
Right.
Um and because I was trying to find where I fitted, I very much became a people pleaser, got involved with the wrong people, and ended up going to prison for 4 months because they were doing dodgy
Okay.
things, with money laundering. I kind of knew it wasn't legit, but chose to ignore it because it was all very glamorous and it was all very lovely. So anyway, that got me to coming out of prison after 4 months of interesting experiences, which is a whole other story.
Wow.
Um, but again, being back then, it was, so many doors were closed to me that, it's like you have a prison record now, so you can't do that and you can't do that and don't even think about going there and don't do that and you're not going to get it accepted onto that. So it was kind of like, what can I do? And I'd always enjoyed acting at school and at college, and
Okay.
it was like, well, okay, I can do that because who cares what you've done or where you come from when you're an actor? You can, anything is fine. So I started working as a jobbing actor. And while I was doing it, a friend of mine was the vice principal of the Lucy Clayton Finishing School in London, which at the time was a globally recognized finishing school where um, European royalty sent their offspring. All the debutantes in London were sent there before they did had their coming out balls. It was like the best of the best. And she phoned me this particular day and said they'd had an outbreak of food poisoning and most of the staff were off sick. And they'd got a group of lady doctors from Harley Street coming in for the day. Was there any way I could come in and help and do something? And I was like, well, okay, yeah, I can do some confidence-based stuff and some presentation skills and a little bit on deportment. I was like, yeah, fine, leave it with me. I'll be in and I'll blag it. Anyway, went in, they loved it. And on the back of that, they offered me a job. And I became the Ian will do that for any bizarre requests or unusual requests that came in. So things like I taught the Sultan of Brunei's helicopter pilot about personal grooming. Taught Prince Edward how to get in and out of a Range Rover in a kilt without flashing anything. And because of that, I ended up working with Princess Diana for about 18 months. Um, Initially, it was supposed to be about getting her to understand the importance of palace protocol and kind of working with the system. But the interesting thing was that because I was coming at it from I'd been to prison, so who the hell was I? And she was kind of going, I don't, and oh, that's interesting, and I'm doing this, but I don't understand. And we kind of bonded over this weird mix of lifestyles. And it became much more about giving her the confidence to be able to do what she wanted to do,
Okay.
whilst making the palace feel safe that she could do it without being at risk herself or causing problems. And I discovered that I had a knack for it. So I then worked for a company they were an American company, and they were much more about business. So I learned a lot about business protocol, international business, all of those kind of things. And it was kind of when Russia was opening up at first. So there were a lot of Russians wanting to do business with the Americans, Americans working with the Japanese. And from there, it just kind of snowballed into different opportunities, which I think from the acting head was kind of like you always say yes and figure it out later. So
Right,
I
right.
worked with children and adults with additional needs. And again, it came down to that building confidence in them to understand their boundaries, to understand their triggers, to be able to express what the problem was. Particularly with autism, they're very, very like one dimensional in terms of what is right and wrong. And so it was even with that, it was confidence work. So it kind of eventually morphed into this, well, okay, you get all these people going, what, like, what's your niche? What's your niche? Niche down, niche down. And I was like, but I can't because I've worked with royalty on one hand, I work with a corporate guy on another, I work with a 17-year-old child who's severely autistic and has A levels to sit. I can't, and the commonality through the whole thing was this fundamental, if you can trust yourself that you will be okay no matter what happens, then from there we can work. And I was working with a group of businesswomen who
Interesting. Yeah.
they christened me the confidence king. And it was like, actually, yeah, yeah, that is me. And so it kind of everything filters in from that.
Well, we can play with that idea. I mean, I think in the Americas and probably over in Britain, you know, Diana was the girl next door.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they slapped, the royalty label on her and she didn't know what to do with it. Um, so I think what I'm thinking, did I say it right? You've
Yeah.
been coaching, and how has your coaching changed over the years?
Um, I would say it's evolved significantly because I think like a lot of coaches, you have a desire to know more. It's always as soon as you learn something, you kind of go, yeah, but there must be more. And initially it was very much protocol, etiquette,
Right,
general mindset based things. Um, but through people that I've worked with, I've expanded it. I worked with a shamanic priest for a while. And on the back of that, I did some training in shamanic practice because it fascinated me.
right.
And I've worked with a few doctors and a few neurologists, and on the back of that, gained a bigger understanding of the nervous system and how powerful that is. Um, so it's kind of evolved into it's more intuitive, I think, is the big difference. That it's I never ever come to an appointment with an agenda or a plan. My client is always the agenda, and it's conversational. Even when I qualified as a fellow of the International Authority for Professional Coaches, and as part of the qualification, you have to do two observed coaching sessions. And the feedback on the first one, there were a few things that he said that the panel sort of said, oh, how do you feel about the feedback? And I said, well, I'm gonna wait until after you've watched the second session and then we'll come back to it. And when we came back to it on the
Okay.
second one, they were like, oh my God, we completely understand why the first session was like that. Because it's more conversational. It's about allowing them to speak and you to hear what they're saying and what they're not saying, and picking up on things that if you're planning like, okay, these are my questions that you would miss. And then it's
Right.
like sometimes they just need that almost that shamanic part, or they need some tapping or EFT, or they need some meditation, or they need silence, or they need, there's a money block that's clearly coming through that there's no amount of general mindset or practical strategy is going to fix until you go back and sort that out. So it has changed hugely. It's very much about, okay, let's get what's going on underneath sorted. Then we can work on how to deal with it. Even with business clients, I always start from, okay, let's take business out of the picture. Take any of the issues that you hear about for your business. What
Perfect.
about your
Yeah.
business excites you? What about your business do you love? Now, how do we make more of that?
Yes.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So,
No, I'm following you. Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, you do. Seriously, I will tell you both now. Do tell me to shut up because I do. I go off on one.
I think you're answering some of our later questions already, but
Oh,
we'll
sorry.
we'll get there. Don't worry.
Ian, you're awesome. So what's next? Howard?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So as you know, I'm already 65,
Uh-huh.
and one of the things I might say, I've sort of recently, if you like, started my full-time coaching career after coaching for 20 years part-time. Do you ever get into the point of throwing in the towel? And if so, what makes you think like that? Or is it something specific? Or have you reached a point of enough is enough?
Oh, frequently. Yeah, there are days I think like most people, I can have days where I bounce between I love everything and it's all amazing and what the am I doing?
Yeah,
I've had enough of this crap. I'm not doing it anymore. Um, I think what I've learned is that's okay.
yeah,
It's as humans, we're so good at beating ourselves up over everything. And, it's like we make it so hard to win and so easy to lose. And all of it's the same. All of it's just thoughts. I can have a day when, if I've had a busy day the day before, or I've had particularly difficult calls, or I've been up late and I'm tired. But I know about myself now after this many years that I make bad decisions when I'm tired. So I don't make big decisions when I'm tired. I
yeah,
know I'm likely to, if something annoys me, it's going to annoy me more than it normally would.
Interesting.
But
Yeah.
it's a transient thought.
yeah,
It's will I remember I mean, you've probably both done the same thing. It's like you're really, really annoyed about something. And then, an hour later, you can't even remember what it was. You're still annoyed about it, but you can't actually remember what it was.
yeah. I mean,
True.
that's
So
a
I,
little
True.
bit like walking into the kitchen and wondering why you're in the kitchen and what have you come in for.
yeah,
Um,
because it was really important when you were
Well,
heading that
that
way.
that's
Yeah.
sometimes, but anyway.
and,
Yeah.
and you've given a couple of clues away. You've mentioned about being, and then you've also mentioned about thoughts. So I'm assuming that you're very much a three principle coach.
Yeah, it's part of it. Again, it was one of those things that because I've worked with people that have been very deeply involved with it. I've read a couple of books and I've listened to a lot of Ankush's stuff and kind of got a bit more about, but it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah,
I think it's that thing. So many people place so much thought, and it's just that it is a thought. Yeah,
yeah,
we have good ones, we have bad ones, but they're all of
Right.
equal value until we give them more meaning.
yeah.
And
I
like I
mean, we
say,
have
I'm
we have somewhere between 12,000 and 60,000 thoughts a day, and it's up to us. We choose the ones we hold on to.
absolutely. So no, like I say, I have days when I think, oh, for God's sake, I can't be bothered with all this. I'm too old for this rubbish. And I just go, okay, so it's one of those days, fine. So I just do what I
Right.
need to do that day
Yeah,
and don't embrace anything else. And then, the following day I'm bouncing around like a 5-year-old again, going, yeah, let's do this.
yeah. Cool.
And
Excellent. Excellent.
that's it.
Hey,
But it's giving yourself permission to have those days and not
yeah,
not feel bad about it.
yeah. David.
Yes, sir. So what is the one piece of advice that you might give to somebody or someone just starting out in full-time coaching career?
I would say I think the most important thing is be patient because it's it takes
I like
time.
that.
It
Yeah,
takes
go ahead.
time. And also silence the noise. Because I think the awful thing for certainly for younger coaches is all the noise, all the people going, oh, you have to do it this way, and you must do it this way. And if you don't do it that way, you'll never succeed. And get 5K months in 20 minutes if you do this and buy this and do, and there is so much, I see it all the time, people changing every 5 minutes because they've obviously done another course or they've watched a webinar or they've done, and they check. It's like
I,
just,
I know some coaches that are doing that right now.
yeah. And it's like, and they go, oh, well, I've done
It's
that for a week
changing.
and it didn't work. It's like, well, it won't. How long does it take you to build a relationship with someone? How long does it take you to trust people? And particularly now, it's that patient understanding that you have to build relationships and you have to build trust. Everybody, I would say without exception, has been scammed one way or another by buying a product online or booking something online or you know and every time
Right.
that happens, it knocks your trust in people. So it's be patient that you're not going to be earning $10,000 a month in 3 months. It's going to take time to build a client base, to build a business, to build authority and learn.
Yeah, yeah.
So, oh, go ahead, Howard.
Go for it.
What I was thinking, that a
Hmm.
trust basis, I totally understand that. So, what is your ideal client? And maybe the avatar. Who do
Okay.
you like to coach now? You
Okay.
figured it out, right?
Yeah, no, my ideal clients are that they all have a similar kind of backstory. It's not gender specific, it's not age specific, but the things that they all have in common, they've all gone through life problems, whether that's a messy divorce, whether it's an abusive relationship, whether it's family problems, whether it's there's something,
Right.
but they know that there is more to them and they want to either do something to support other people that are going through the same thing that they've gone through, or they want to build a business to gain independence after they've finished whatever it is, or it's that kind of thing. And they are my perfect clients because they have no self-belief beyond who they were when they were either in the relationship or caring for the relative or dealing with whatever it is. And it's those wonderful moments where they suddenly realize that they can give themselves permission to let that go and they can give themselves permission to actually be proud of themselves. And the
I like
fact
that.
that they are 100% undefeated by whatever they've gone through because they're sitting talking to me. You know,
Excellent.
and then from there we work on whatever it is, whether it's building a business or finding a new
Right.
relationship or whatever the area is. But
Yeah.
no, those are my ideal clients.
So I have something, Ian, that I more often than not share with a client, and this is Steve Chandler's expectations versus agreements.
Mm.
Mm,
And it's always there's always an aha moment there, even if it's just a nudge that leads to a shift for them, and then seeing them how they apply that into their lives and into their work. Um, do you have something, a specific thing that you do, let's say on the confidence side, that you share with a client?
Um, there's a few things that I always start out with. A very simple one, which the majority of people really struggle with is a first piece of homework I give them is to make a set of lists, one of their qualities, one of their skills, and
I'm
one of their
smiling.
successes.
I hear you.
And I say anything, even if even if it's I make a really good cup of coffee, or just everything that is a success for you that you are good at, and everything that are your qualities, everything that are your skills. And I, so many times ago, that was really, really hard. And it's like, yeah, I know. Because if I'd said, okay, write down everything that's wrong with you, you'd do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the act, and I always make them do it pen and paper as well, because there's something so primal about writing it rather than tapping it into a laptop or into your phone or whatever. But I always get them to do that. But the other thing is the recognition that expectations. So many problems come from unmet expectations. And it's getting them to realize that it is just an expectation. It's not a reality. The reason that you're frustrated about that is because it didn't turn out the way you expected. But there's no certainty that they will. How many times have things not turned out as expected and they've been better?
Right.
And you get them to think of occasions when that's happened. So it's about freeing up and having, giving yourself permission to make mistakes, giving yourself permission to actually appreciate how amazing you are because you've dealt with that, or you did that, or you responded in that way because that's what you needed at the time. And then looking at the fact that you're no longer that person,
Yeah.
and that what you did then, you did because you needed it, and now you can let go because you're not that person anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that exercise of writing it down.
It's
Um,
it's so lovely because it's
it-
such
it's
an
it's
easy.
a, it's yeah, it's primal, but at the end of the day, that's the word you use.
Yeah, but it is, and it's
You write
simple.
it down, and it's different. It's like, oh, that's not me. That's not what I was thinking.
Yeah, and you can't argue with it because it's
Yeah.
fact.
Right.
And then when you're going, oh, I'm rubbish, it's like, look at the list.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so my understanding, Ian, is that typically you have 20 clients at any one time, and you have a monthly group that you coach monthly, and you use that to ideally feed into your one-to-one coaching. And,
Um,
and and that sounds absolutely idyllic. I mean, if I could
yeah.
create that myself, then I would. Have you always had this strategy, or has it evolved over time? And
No,
and from what has it evolved?
it's evolved over time because I again, like I say, with appointments, I don't have an agenda, and with my business, I don't really have an agenda. It's been very organic, and it's kind of gone where it needed to go. And I'll kind of have an idea, or I'll be out walking the dog and have a download of, oh, I know what I want to do. And some of them I think are the most brilliant ideas on the planet, and I'll put them out there, and it gets tumbleweed, and I just gonna go, okay, so that's just me, or time's not right, or whatever. That's fine. We'll shelve that. Um, but what I found, where even if it's like a 28-day course that I run, that's just a really simple little 5 minute a day thing, or it's one-to-one coaching, or it's the group coaching, the thing that always comes through is that people want access to me. It's like I've done. It's like there's a 90-day course that I've run 2 or 3 times now, and I did put it out as a self-study version, and nobody wanted it. Whereas the 3 times I ran it with me, it filled and sold out each time.
Yeah.
So I know that about myself, and it's about doing what I like doing. So the group, it's a 12-month group, which is actually just coming up for renewal right now. Um, but it's a 12-month journey because it's about everything that's the best of me. So we look at mindset work, but we also look at nervous system work. We look at business, so we look at marketing strategies, visibility, dealing with procrastination, how to get clients, the stress of getting them, keeping them, losing them, um, all of that. But it's spread over a year, so it perpetuates the thought about patience and not getting overwhelmed or overloaded because you have that time. And within that, they get one-to-one coaching with me, as well as group calls, recorded masterclasses. So there's no feeling of being behind with it. And it's a lot less stressful, but the benefits show, and they build month on month over the year to get where they want to go. And for those people, it's brilliant and I love it. And within that, there are a couple of them that have kind of gone, I want to push myself harder. So can I do some extra one-to-one coaching? So I've done that. Equally, this year, a couple of my one-to-one clients have also signed up for the Success Circle because they want a little bit more of a group dynamic to support them as well. So it's kind of as I say, it's kind of organic that I just go with what works for me. And with the one-to-one clients, I've reduced the number because I find that the clients that are coming to me now, there's more to deal with because it is a very much a life and business conversation. Whereas prior to that, it was very much one or other.
Yeah.
Primarily, but now because it's both, I'm committing more time to them, so I'm reducing the number. But
Yeah.
it's literally it's attracting what I'm putting out, which get that I suppose comes down to visibility.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I think you coached a lot of different people over the years.
Yeah.
And what I'm thinking is, I won't go back to the avatar part. We talked about Diana, but at the end of the day, are you just coaching royalty, or
No, 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 no,
or you
no.
or who are you talking to? Yeah.
Ev Everyone and anyone. I think this is one of the things that I've learned because of the different people I've worked with. I've worked with a women's refuge, I've worked with a homeless charity, I've worked with royalty, I've worked with companies like Harvey Nichols and Liberties in London. But across the board, it's just geography. Everybody that comes to me has similar things going on and similar things to deal
Okay.
with. It's just bank account or geography as to where they sit in the kind of tangible bits. But that doesn't bother me. I don't care in terms of that. I work with people. I work with people that will do the work. And that's my one non-negotiable. It's like I
Those
will
are the best
happily.
clients.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is, isn't it? It's like I will if somebody genuinely puts in the time, I know they will see the results. And it can be hard. It's like I have a client at the moment who's going through some really awful emotional family stuff. Um, and it's really, really hard. And we're having to go to places that she doesn't ideally want to go to, but she needs to. And she's already seeing the payoff for that. But if she was going to go, oh, well, no, I don't want to do that, I'm not doing that, then we're wasting each other's time because I can't give my best if she's not open to it. And it's the same with building a business. It's like I can give you the guiding and I can give you the strategies and I can give you the mindset and the nervous system support and the expansion. But if you're not going to do anything with it, we're wasting each other's time.
No, that makes total sense. What I was thinking, you used the word primal earlier in the
Mm,
conversation. And one thing I do with my coaching is I coach mostly women.
yeah, me too.
And at the end of the day, well, week 4, let's call it that,
Mm.
we do the primal scream. It's like, just scream. Like,
Yeah, I love
like,
that.
no, no, use your voice. It's like, grab a pillow if you're embarrassed, but do it. Do it. Um, so what I'm thinking here is, what do you believe is your greatest success with a client, and where did you find the biggest shift?
Um, I will give you an example, and she's actually one of my one-to-one clients that's joining the 12-month program as well as the one-to-ones. And she's an amazing woman. She was in a severely, she's in her late 50s now. She was in a severely abusive marriage for 27 years. And we're talking like she has scars from cigarette burns. We're talking major, major, horrendous
Okay.
relationship. And she managed to get out of it. And she wanted to pay back by creating a group for any survivors of those kind of relationships. Bertie, I'm so sorry, my dog's getting very excited. Bertie, I will stop him. Thank you. Right.
Come on, Camber.
Sorry, I know. Love me, love my dog. Bertie gets everybody, all my clients know Bertie. They ask about him before they ask about me. Um, but yeah, but no, she wanted to set up this group for survivors of relationships and people in similar situations. So she was doing that, and she also is very keen on cooking. So she wanted to create this kind of group called Back to Basics, which was all about saving money, saving food waste, creating easy recipes so that you could eat healthily and quickly. And it wasn't too complicated, it wasn't too fatty and hard recipes and stuff. But she wasn't getting anywhere. And she also her sleep was bad, and all of this was going on. And she came to me because she wanted to build her business. She'd done a course with another coach who told her that she had to set up a membership, and she was wasting her time going down this particular route because nobody had any money, and she should be doing recipes and all of this. And she came to me going, and I don't know what to do because it kind of doesn't. I don't know that that's what I want to do, but I know I have to. And literally first session, I stopped and said, right, okay, we're throwing that out the window. Let's not talk about the business. We're not doing that.
Right.
What do you love doing, and how and what? And we did some work on her and getting her to realize that she was a survivor, that she was more than that. She was successful. She was 100% undefeated. She was an icon for having done what she did. And we had this long discussion, and her homework, because it had made her agoraphobic, so she wouldn't leave the house. And her homework, there was a Starbucks 2 doors down from where she lived. And I said, if you
Go ahead.
can, go and get a coffee. Just think about it. Anyway, so she was like, yeah, okay. And her next call, she was like, well, I'm sorry, I've let you down. I failed. I failed. I was like, what do you mean you failed? We haven't even started talking yet. What do you mean you failed? She said, well, you said that if I felt up to it, I should go and get a coffee. And I was like, yeah. She said, well, I decided I was going to go, and I put my coat on, and I went out, and I went to the Starbucks, and it was really, really busy. And so I didn't want to sit in there. So I just ordered a coffee, and I brought it home, and I had it at home. So I didn't sit in there, and I didn't and I hadn't and I and I was like, darling, from the minute you decided to go, you won because you did something that you would never do. And it was like you got up, you went out, you decided to go. You did what any sane person would do. You went, it's too busy in here, I'm taking it out. You know, that's that was a totally normal thing to do. That was a not overthinking, not procrastinating, not stressing, not getting anxious, not getting overwhelmed. Simple decision. You've done brilliant. And from there, we've been working together for a few months. She's now going as guesting on podcasts about what she does and her journey and her group. She's got the Back to Basics cookery lives going. She's setting up a membership at a silly like peppercorn amount so that it can support people and they can save money and cook these recipes. She's sleeping better because we did some work on her association with being in bed, because she'd never addressed the fact that being on the same, because she was sleeping on the same side of the bed now that she slept on through the whole relationship. So we did some work on the fact that your nervous system doesn't feel safe because it's so ingrained. And again, even with that, it was like, oh my God, of course.
Hmm.
So, but yeah,
Interesting.
she's one of my top A-star people because she's taken everything, and even the awful stuff. She's to one final thing about her that she did. She went to the police to report everything that had happened. And she said, not because I want to go back there and prosecute, but I want it recorded so that he cannot do it to somebody else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Interesting.
she spent
Interesting.
years avoiding it because she didn't want to deal with it. But
Yeah.
she now this strong, amazing woman is just yeah. So yeah, I'm very, very proud of her.
Well,
Excellent.
I love it that yeah, Ian, you took, us from, a 1 to a 10 with the client, which is a really great conversation. But as coaches, we're all challenged with finding clients. And I think Howard told me you live in Lincolnshire.
Yes.
Um, but you don't coach people locally. So where do you find your clients or how they find you?
Um, Primarily social media. Primarily Facebook, a few from LinkedIn, but mainly Facebook. And it goes back to what I was saying about being patient and visibility. It's I think a lot of people get hung up with social media that they have to present a certain image and a certain, character for
Right.
whatever it is they do. It's like you've got all the influencers that have to be shredded or have to be orange tanned with filler and everything, or
Oh boy.
whatever. And but again, people don't trust that anymore. They've been scammed by them, they've been cheated by them, they've been lied to by them. They don't trust all that razzmatazz and polish. They connect with real people. But because of the way social media works and the millions of people that are on it, you cannot overshare yourself. You can't do one post a week or
Okay.
one post, even one post a day, and expect people to build that relationship. So I post a lot, but I post me. It's not all business because a lot of people will post just work related things or business related things or offers or a golden nugget about what they coach, a tip, or but it's like you need to share you. They need to see who you are. Like I say, everybody that follows me, I always say, if you don't know Bertie, you don't follow me, because everybody knows my dog. Because there's always videos of me because I'll have a thought while I'm walking him, so I'll record it, or you know things go on.
That's authenticity.
Yeah, and it
Yeah,
genuinely
it's my
is.
dog.
Yeah, the
It's
good,
me.
bad, the different. If I'm having a crap day, I'll post about it and I'll go, because this happened, and it's about letting people in so that they can see you're a real person, and people and it's that moment when people go, oh, God, he would so get me. Yeah,
So,
I'll can I mention? And,
yeah.
so it's about attracting rather than chasing.
So so we all have this thing about niching down
Mm,
and doing something, and I think to a degree you've got this tag that we've discussed about, the confidence king,
yeah,
but that transcends across all niches, if you like.
absolutely.
Um, and I don't know, when we met a few weeks ago, I was quite surprised because I think I posed a question to you insofar as, you know, where do you get your clients from in Lincolnshire? And you sort of said, oh, I don't think I've got any clients in Lincolnshire.
No,
And
I've got literally a handful.
right,
And it's that weird. It's Lincolnshire's quite odd in that respect.
yeah.
It has a very strange business mentality, or lack of, I think, is it's like networking events. They're never particularly successful. Whereas you go to, go to Nottingham or go to Leicester or go to Derby or, head to Leeds.
Yeah.
And there's a different energy about business. It's like there's quite a few organizations that have started up groups and then just stopped doing it because there wasn't the interest.
Yeah.
I
And I
I think
think
it's
Right.
getting better, but
yeah, and I think that's quite often in the result of a lot of other sort of rural sort of type areas that there isn't
mm,
that impetus to, keep doing something, commit to doing something because, for a lot of them, they've got where they are through, what they've been doing in the past, and they're almost not open to trying something new.
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
like, oh, it's all right.
yeah.
So
So I think for all of us, it's quite often it's it's all well and good getting into a coaching conversation, but the hard part is actually having conversations with people and then inviting them into that coaching conversation. And I think that's quite often the hard thing, especially now because so much of what we do is online. We still have to get out there and see people and speak to people and have that FaceTime with people
yeah.
to be able to listen and hear something to then invite them into a coaching conversation. How do you manage that?
Um, I think for me, I suppose having been a jobbing actor and which is obviously is always about getting to know people very quickly because if you're in a cast, you have to be, sometimes doing very inappropriate things to
Are
each
you
other.
still acting?
On and off. I do
No. Okay.
occasionally. It's
Hobby.
a lot
Panto at
less now.
Christmas.
Yeah, well, every Christmas. Yeah, you see, but again, that's a locked in habit that I always did. As again, as jobbing actors, you always did panto because it was always really good money because it's Christmas, and that would keep you going through the first part of the year when there wasn't much work around. And it became a Christmas isn't Christmas if I'm not working on a panto, and the opportunity's always been there. So I've kept doing it. And to be fair, the money is still really good. So so I would always do it.
Okay.
Um, but so yeah, I still do a little bit. But I think it's the fact that I love people. I'm fascinated by people. And so the conversation, it's not so much about drawing them in as a potential coaching client. It's just purely listening to them and that there inevitably will come that, oh, so what do you do? And it's like, oh, well, this is what I do. And again, it's that expectations thing again, that I have no expectations with anyone I speak to. I approach the conversation with, if you want to know what I do, I would be doing you a disservice if I don't tell you,
Yeah.
but then it's yours.
So
And
what would you say that for clients? I mean, and there are two points on here. One is what is it for clients? Do you think that they're looking for? Um, what do they consider success if they're working with you? And then how long do they typically work with you? I mean, you've mentioned this lady that you've been helping, and
yeah.
that's been, I don't know,
Good
months or
question. Good
years.
question.
How typically how long do clients stay with you?
Um, rather rather smugly, I will say that they tend to come for a 3 month block, but the majority of them tend to stay
Yeah,
because it's like I do have it. It's again a case in point. There's a girl that I've been working with who um has ADHD and OCD, and I've been working with her, and 3 months will be fine because it's been about getting her to understand her triggers and to understand what is actually just normal in whatever normal is. But it's like she felt that there was something wrong with her because she got very anxious when she was stuck in a tube and an underground train in central London in prime commuter time. And it's like, no, that's nothing to do with that. Everybody hates that. That's normal. You can relax slightly on that.
Exactly.
That's just normal. That's just everybody has those feelings. Everybody wants to kill the people on that train at that point. Um, so 3 months will be fine for her. And she probably will stop and go. And there's other things where it's a specific just this project or this thing, and they go. But what tends to happen with a lot of my clients is they come about something, and we all know the problem is never the problem. And we'll deal with that. But then it's through the conversations you discover other things, and it's like, oh, actually, could we carry on? Because I'd like to work on that. And or could we carry on because of, and then I just let it run as it needs to. It's
So,
like,
Ian, can I ask a
so
crazy question?
of course.
Yeah, crazy. I can be. But
Good.
at the end of the day, it's like you talk about working with a woman that has ADHD or OCL,
Yes.
ODC, whatever.
OCD, yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's kind of like, how do they find you? And most people I know are in that category. They're going to see a physician. They're getting medication. They're getting therapy. So what makes you different or effective?
That what I do works. I think. I know that sounds really arrogant, but it's
I know
true.
I'm pushing you around the corner here.
Yeah, but it's
But
no, it's what
I
I
like the
what I
conversation.
do, what I do works. I think the big thing is, there is a place for therapy, and in all its different forms. I think the people that come to me quite often have tried various different things, and they're still where they were. And it's like this girl, it's actually her mother has been following me on social media for about 2 years. And so her daughter found me because she
Interesting.
followed me
Okay.
because of the
yeah.
daughter. And then kind of went, actually, I think, I had a lady message me this morning. And again, she's been following me for a while, not sure quite how long, but she's been following me for a while. She's commented on a few things over the past few months. But she messaged me this morning saying, I've just watched this video, and she'd screenshotted the one that she'd watched. And she was like, this has really resonated with me. I need to work with you.
Yeah.
How do I do that?
So it's a little bit like the old Nanny McPhee. It's when you need me, but don't want me,
Yeah, yes,
then you must stay.
yeah,
When you want me but no longer need me, I will go.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
it genuinely is because
And that's interesting that you're sort of turning over your clients almost like every 3 months,
yeah,
but presumably some stay with you.
yeah,
But you're in this continuous finding new clients all the time. What what
yeah.
what does Ian 2.0 look like? What's next, if that's not too big a
What's
question?
Good
next?
question.
Well, good question. Yeah, good question, actually. Well, there's a few things. It's kind of the universal energy thing, kind of always pushes me in different directions or drags me along whether I want to or not. Um, I have been asked about a second book because the first one, The Wasted Life, has gone down really, really well. And the only criticisms that I've had are people saying, we want those stories, because there's various bits where I didn't deliberately didn't want to make it about me. So I kind of mentioned something, but say, that's a story for another time, or just comment on something. And people have said, we want those stories and we want more. So I'm currently just working on an initial idea for the next book. So that will be happening, that will be being written this year, um, hopefully to be out early next year. The training videos that I did for the American finance industry, which I got the award for, are finally finished. So those are going to be available within the next, I think, 2 or 3 months. So those will be out and around and being distributed and viewed and watched
Yeah.
So I don't know what may or may not come from that. But again, that was a combination of everything that I do, because there was some etiquette stuff, some mindset stuff, some mindfulness stuff, approaches to selling, how to serve rather than sell, a mix
Yeah.
of things. So that's going on. As I say, the new 12-month success circle starts in April. So I will have whole new cohort for that. Well, not entirely new, but a lot of new people. Well, maximum of 12, I hasten to add, because again, I don't like big groups. That's the other thing I've learned over years of working. So yeah, it's an exciting year. I've also been working with this amazing adult additional needs theatre group, who are just joyous. And again, a complete mix of people from students. They're all in their kind of 30s and early 40s. And there's people with cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, learning disabilities, physical disabilities, but they are the most glorious group of people.
Yeah.
And to be able to, again, build their self-confidence and self-belief, it is just a joy. So that's happening as well.
Yeah.
So
Excellent.
yeah, just all sorts of exciting things.
Ian,
Yes, sir.
thank you so much for coming along
Ian,
across
It's
the
been a
pond.
It's been a pleasure. I'm sorry I ramble so
this
much. I
has
just
been a
get so
great conversation.
excited.
No,
Ian, thank you very much indeed.
You're very welcome, sir.
right. Cheers.
Pleasure.
Thank you.